Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I want to share with you some tips that you can use to start to build a freezer stash when you're breastfeeding. Now this might be because you're planning to return to work, it might be because you just want to have a little bit of extra milk there in case there's a time that you're away from your baby, or it might be that you're ready to have some freedom and some backup. And you're like me, as a breastfeeding mum, I just like to know there's always some milk there. So, how do we go about starting to build a freezer stash? Well, the first thing you want to think about is that the earlier you start, the easier it is. Your body will naturally produce more milk in the first 6 to 8 weeks after your baby's born than it will at any other time. And as time goes on, the levels of your milk making hormones slowly decrease and your body starts to regulate your milk supply to just replacing what your baby's removing. So the older your baby is, the more difficult it can be to express extra on top of what baby's taking. Now, if you have any concerns in terms of an oversupply, your baby's struggling with your milk flow, you're dealing with a lot of engorgement, please do be careful about doing lots of pumping in the first few months because we don't want to stimulate things further. When you make the decision about which pump to get, you want to think about how you're going to use it. If you'll mostly be pumping at home or in an office while you're at work, then a slightly larger, less portable unit is not such an issue, and in that situation I'd always recommend going for a hospital grade pump. I'll link a review of one of my favourites up above here. If you want something that's really portable and easy to use on the go, then using a hands-free pump is a good option as well. One hands-free pump that I really like is this one by the brand Lola and Likey. It's not an in-bra pump, but actually what it does have on its side is because it's a little bit less compact, it has got a larger motor than some of those pumps, and so I do find that it's more efficient than a lot of those in-bra pumps. You can still use it hands-free with a hands-free pumping bra. So it's not an issue at all. If you want to keep working while you're doing it, if you need to be playing with your kids, making dinner, you can pop it in a hands-free pumping bra and it works really, really well. But this is a good option and you can charge it with a USB in your car while you're out and about. So that's the first thing to think about. Make sure you get a good pump to start with. Second thing is when and how you're going to pump. Now your milk supply is naturally at its highest in the early hours of the morning, between about 1 and 6 a.m. And then your prolactin levels, which is your milk making hormone, slowly decreases over the course of the day. You can pump at any time of day, but if you're struggling to get much milk out later in the day, I definitely suggest popping in a pumping session earlier on in the day, at least initially, because you will find that you'll generally get more at that point. Some mums also find it really helpful to do something called a power pump. Now this is a way of mimicking to your body with a pump your baby cluster feeding, and it's a great way to help boost your supply. So what you do with a power pump is that you would pump on and off for periods of time. So you'd start with about 20 minutes on and then have a 10-minute break, and then another 10 minutes on and then a 10-minute break, and then some mums will even do an extra 5 or 10 minutes at the end and then they'll stop. If you've only got a single pump, you can do this just by switching sides. So just pump on one side for 20 minutes and then move to the other side for 20 minutes, back to the first side for 10, to the second side for 10, etc. If you've got a double pump, you can do both at once if you want to and just do 20 minutes on and then take it off and have that break for 20 minutes on both sides. For slightly older babies who might have got to a point where there are some feeds where they only want to take one breast per feed, especially if they're sleeping a longer stretch at night, it might be that first feed in the morning, your breasts are so full that they only need to take one side, and this is when it works quite well to feed baby on one side and pump on the other. The key with starting to build a freezer stash is start early. You don't want to be under pressure. So start as early as you can and just build up little and often. You might find it easier to do 1 or 2 longer pumping sessions in a day, or actually it might be simpler for you to do multiple more frequent sessions. You might find some days you pump more than you do others. It doesn't have to be a rigid routine. Also remember, when you're building a freezer stash, you don't need much to start with, especially if you're planning to just cover a night out or when you return to work. You only need enough, even if you're going back to work, you only need enough for the first couple of days. because when you're at work, you'll be pumping, which will give you milk for the next day, and etc. So don't think in your head that you need a massive amount. Just a couple of days worth if you're going back to work, or a few feeds worth if you're planning to go out for an evening or to an event is perfectly sufficient. Now I can hear you all saying, okay, that's great, but how much do I actually need to leave my baby for a feed? Here's a really quick breakdown of how much your baby is likely to take if they're having a full feed of express milk from a bottle. Now if your baby is over the age of 1 month, then a full feed for them will likely be around 90 to 120 mils. This is about 3 to 4 ounces. If your baby is younger than a month, then you will see that it's less. You're probably not so likely to be leaving them at that age, but for babies in that sort of 2 to 4 week range, they're probably taking about 60 mils. And for babies who are about a week old, they're probably taking somewhere in the region of 30 to 60. So for babies older than a month, plan to leave about 90 to 120 mils per feed that you're going to be away from them. Hope you've all enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave me a comment and let me know which of these tips was helpful for you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it's really helpful to my channel. Thank you very much. I will speak to you all soon.